which the Trump administration will pursue bilateral trade opportunities with allies around the globe. This is a strong signal. They discussed ways to deepen the bilateral relationship and support Egypt's fight against terrorists and both national agreements, multilateral agreements. They're not always in the best interest of the United States. The beautiful thing about a bilateral agreement is that if any one of the two parties in the agreement decides that at any time they want to get out of the agreement or they're not being treated fairly, they can renegotiate it much easier. In a multinational agreement, that's not the case. In many cases, all of the other to go after this president and say, well, that can't be true and that's not right and the numbers weren't there, and there's a rush to judgment every time. And it's a two-way street. We want to have a healthy and open dialogue with the press corps and with the American people about what he's doing to help this country and to unite it, and one that assures the rest of the world that the way that we negotiate bilateral agreements is going to ensure that we get something out of these deals. As I mentioned, well, I think he has been very, very clear about China's place in the geopolitical landscape, both economically and and national security wise. So he understands the need. That's part of the reason that trade is important. Bilateral trade, it provides aid, but can't catch a break. And I think he addressed that in his inaugural speech when he talked about shifting power outside of Washington, D.C. back to the American people. Because for too long, it's been about stats, Mara, and it's been about what number are we looking at as opposed to what face are we looking at. Yeah, Jonathan's a stickler for that. She said, different women were there for different reasons, but they were all there to make sure that their core American values are going to be protected. And I think many people like me were there for positive reasons. And I think the president shares Debbie Dingell's views that there were people that came to the mall, as they do all the time, sometimes in smaller numbers. And so I think he reaches out to him in the way that he started on the night that he won the election, on the way that he did on Inauguration Day by sending a message that talks about fighting for them. But more importantly, I think the president's going to show through action and through success that he's fighting for them and fighting for every American. One of the things that we've seen so often in this town is a lot of soaring rhetoric about how much people care. And I think the president is going to show through deed and action and success that he wants to fight for people's health care. He wants to have a better education system. He wants a stronger America. He wants to go in and fix our inner cities. He wants to make sure that our infrastructure, our roads and our bridges. So I think more than anything, showing people through action and deed and success is where he's going to prove to the American people how much he cares to unite us and how much he cares to make this America better and safer.
Yeah. What would be the relation between this administration and the Hispanic community in the U.S.?
Well, I think his relationship with the Hispanic community is going to be great. I think as I said, I think that whether it's jobs or education or health care, the president's committed to uniting all Americans and working towards a better, safer, more secure, more prosperous America that benefits everybody. And I think, regardless of your background, that's something that he's committed to. Yeah, benefit to our seniors. He understands. I mean, Mr. Trump's employed so many people over the years. He understands the struggle that people have later in life to continue to make ends meet. And I think that he is keenly aware. Okay, so let me see what I can do. Look, I think one of the things that happened, Jim, was that he kept hearing about this rift that existed. He talked about it a couple weeks ago after his briefing, how proud he is and how much he respects the intelligence community. And I think when he walked into that and he saw it, he wanted to make sure that people knew that what you're hearing on television or in reports about this rift, I have the utmost respect for you. I honor your service. I'm proud of what you're doing and the sacrifices that you're making. And I think that he wanted them to know that you see and hear all this stuff on TV about this rift that so-called exists. And clearly it doesn't matter. Like, don't believe what you're hearing. Know that I have a tremendous amount of respect for you. I appreciate everything that you're doing. And I think that's why he wanted to do it, is to make sure that they understand, they heard firsthand how much he respects them, how much he wanted to dispel the myth that there was a quote-unquote rift. Consensus candidate wasn't approved. Where's the story? And I think that, so it...
Isn't there a fair criticism that you've got bigger fish to fry? Like, why worry about a couple of tweets about crowd sizes?
Because it's not, because that's what I'm saying. You're minimizing the point here, Jim. It's not about one tweet. It's not about one picture. It's about a constant theme. It's about sitting here every time and being told, no, well, we don't think he can do that. He'll never accomplish that. He can't win that. It won't be the biggest. It's not going to be that good. The crowds aren't that big. He's not that wrong. Say we're wrong. But it's not always wrong and negative. There's a lot of things that he's done already, a lot of amazing people he's appointed, a lot of success that he's having. And it would be once in a while for someone just to say, report it straight up. He appointed this person, here's their background, not why they're not going to get nominated, not why it's not going to happen. So,
Thanks, Sean.